This proposal will make historic investments in fixing our broken immigration system. Madam President, it's been 36 years since we've had any meaningful changes in our immigration law. You go back to Ronald Reagan as president. That was the last time. Simpson Mazzoli, names those of us who study the subject remember, but most people don't, I'm afraid. And yet that was the last time. Is there anyone who can say with a straight face that we don't have a broken immigration system in this country? We do. The proposal will give us historic investments in fixing it. These reforms have the potential to generate more than $1 trillion in economic growth over the next decade. I listened as a senator from Kentucky, the Republican leader, dismissed this whole conversation as blanket amnesty, and correlated all immigration problems to the current challenge, and it is a challenge, that we face at our southern border. The reforms that we have in mind will provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. Excuse me if I take this one personally, but it was 20 years ago that I introduced the DREAM Act in the United States Senate. As I say jokingly, at the time, if you ask people who are the Dreamers, they'd say a British rock group, right? Led by a fellow named Freddie. Well, maybe they were right then, but 20 years later, when you say Dreamers, and people say it frequently, you know who we're talking about. Kids brought to the United States by their parents who grew up in this country, pledged allegiance to that flag every day in their school classrooms, believed in their heart of hearts that they were American to the core, only to learn when the parents worked up courage to tell them when they were teenagers that they were undocumented. They were kids without a country. The DREAM Act said, we're going to give you a chance, young man, young woman. You can earn your way to legal status and citizenship. Keep your nose clean, don't get in trouble with the law, pay the necessary fees, and wait, and we'll give you that chance to become part of America's future. And even with that uncertainty in their lives, with the inability to qualify for even federal government loans to go to college, they have written some dramatic stories. We all know them. Those of us in public life have met them. They are doctors and nurses and dentists. They are on the front lines of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. They want to enlist, and some already have enlisted in our military. They are lawyers. They are entrepreneurs. They are amazing. And they did it all, never certain that they were going to be accepted in America. According to Senator McConnell, they're part of this blanket amnesty of these immigrants who want to come to our country. Forgive me, Senator, they're much more than that. They also take care of temporary protected status people. We have people in the United States who came here because of a crisis in their own countries. We accepted them. They've lived here for 20 years, and now, frankly, they're caught in the middle. We give them a chance to earn their way to citizenship. And farm workers. Madam President, do you know we have 2.4 million farm workers? These are men and women who get out and do the dirty, dangerous, hot work that Americans will never queue up to do. And they do it because we want fruits and vegetables on our table. We want meat and poultry processed safely, and Americans won't do the work. Let's just be very candid about it. And I know this based on all the people who have come to my office. These farm workers have been used by our country for years to pick our crops and deliver them safely to our tables. And we have a bill that we put together with the growers and the workers in total agreement that gives these farm workers a path to citizenship. When we had a hearing on it in the Senate Judiciary Committee, one of the Republican senators said, oh, just what we need, instant amnesty for farm workers. Do you know what that instant amnesty is like? You have to show that you have spent 10 years of your life working in the fields before you even qualify for the 9-year process that can bring you to citizenship. 19 years, instant amnesty? No, it isn't. And again, other essential immigrant workers who've been saving our lives and keeping our families fed during this pandemic. They're called essential workers, but the categories that created these essential workers were created by Donald Trump, not us, not Democrats. And we believe essential workers, whom we thanked profusely during this pandemic, if they are undocumented, should have a chance at citizenship. Those are the groups we're trying to work to bring into America in a full-time status. They would expand funding for common sense measures that make our system safer for everyone by improving the process of asylum claims, will reduce immigration court backlogs, and start to secure our southern border. More than 200,000 Daca recipients are essential critical infrastructure workers. Tens of thousands of these young people have been saving our loved ones' lives as nurses and doctors and medical professionals. Hundreds of thousands of undocumented farm workers, who account for about half of our nation's farm workforce, do backbreaking labor every day to put food on our tables. These members of our communities have more than earned their path to citizenship. I'm going to get into the weeds a bit here, but I want to say under a Senate rule known as the Byrd Rule, any provision included in reconciliation must have a substantial and direct impact on the budget, and this impact cannot be merely accidental. That's kind of the roadmap for this budget resolution. I'm sure the senator from Vermont knows it well. Let's be clear. A pathway to citizenship as part of our immigration package on the budget reconciliation bill would have a substantial and direct impact on our budget. A pathway to citizenship for dreamers and immigrants with temporary protected status would have a budgetary cost of approximately $42.4 billion over 10 years, according to the Congressional Budget Office. This is a critical component of our economic recovery. There is no world in which this budgetary impact is merely accidental. $42.4 billion. Creating a pathway to citizenship, though, is not just a matter of cost. There are also benefits. It would boost our nation's GDP by $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years. It would create 400,000 new jobs and increase every American's annual wage by an estimated $600. When. There is ample precedent for passing this important legislation through budget reconciliation. Republicans have used this process to open up the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in Alaska for drilling and enact a $1.9 trillion tax cut for the wealthiest Americans and corporations. In addition, in 2005, Senate Republicans used reconciliation to dramatically increase the number of lawful permanent residents by an estimated 3.2 million over 10 years. Now they're saying it doesn't belong in reconciliation. In 2005, they put it in. This is the exact same immigration status we're proposing to give dreamers, TPS holders, farm workers, and essential workers. I've tried for many years to pass a path to citizenship. Republicans have obstructed bipartisan immigration reform time and time again, including filibustering the DREAM Act at least 5 times. This year, I convened bipartisan immigration negotiations that dragged on for months. Republicans made unreasonable demands and insisted on attaching partisan provisions that would actually cut legal immigration. Republicans have rejected common sense measures to help secure our border. It is clear that the only viable option for passing immigration reform is through the reconciliation process. For those who claim they're concerned about our southern border, here's your chance. Here it is. To invest billions of dollars in smart and effective steps to improve border security. We need to provide a path to citizenship for dreamers and others who are contributing to our economy every day and who helped grow it for years to come. Madam President, I want to close by thanking the senator from Vermont. I don't know when I first approached him with this notion of including immigration, but from day one, Senator Sanders has been supportive of the concept and now has given us our chance. Millions of people who make America better are watching and hoping that in the next days and weeks, we can achieve our goal and give them a chance to find a path to citizenship and become an important part of America's future. I yield the floor.